Most people trying to break into data analytics in 2026 are doing it completely wrong. So everyone's been asking, is it still worth becoming a data analyst? The worst part, no one is telling them the truth. None of the courses, none of the boot camps, none of the universities, they're all teaching the same outdated playbook, while the job market has completely shifted underneath them. So in this video, I'm going to tell you what's actually happening and what you should be doing instead. Because this is not a small decision. If you transition into this space and it's the wrong move, you're out thousands of dollars and months of your life, and you're going to go right back to where you started. Except now you're going to be even more frustrated and even more broke. And if you don't make this move, and you should have, you are going to watch people less qualified and less talented than you land roles paying 70, 80, and upwards to 90 plus thousands of dollars working from home or hybrid, while you're just still grinding through a job that's draining life out of you. So the question to this matters, and the answer is not just a yes or no. It's way more specific than that. Okay, so by the end of this video, you're going to know three things. Number one, what the data analyst job actually looks like right now in 2026 with real numbers, not assumptions. Two, the exact conditions under which this career is absolutely worth it. And three, the one mistake that makes it a complete waste of time, even for people who are smart and motivated. And the third one is the one nobody's talking about. And it's the reason most people who try to break into data analytics do not make it, even when they do everything else right. All right, so this is your first time here. I'm Kedeisha, and over 6 years ago, I was delivering pizzas and Amazon packages for $8 an hour. And today, I'm running a community of over 80,000 current and aspiring data professionals, and I've helped thousands of other career changers break into data analytics without going back to school and wasting more money on courses that just don't work. I watch this career path transform in real time, and my only goal is to help you cut through all the endless information online and get you to exactly where you want to be in the least amount of time. All right, so let's start with this question that is so hard to answer in the first place. If you go online and you search, is data analytics worth it? You're going to run into completely contradictory information. Reddit posts saying that they can't even get interviews after even being referred. And you got other people telling you that it's never been a better time to get into data analytics. People saying that they've landed a 90K role within 4 months with no degree. Now, here's why both of those are true at the same time. The data analytics job market is not just one job market, it's actually two completely different markets. And most people are accidentally competing in the wrong one. Data analyst positions are open in the US right now, including analytics engineers, BI engineers, even AI data strategists. So when people say the market is saturated, they're actually talking about one specific type of role, the non-strategic thinking Excel only data analyst. And they're right, that role is being squeezed out, partly by automation, partly by a flood of people who took the Google cert and applied everywhere at the same time, the same generic resume, but that's not the whole market. And if you think that's the only role available, you're going to be competing in the hardest part of the market for the lowest paying positions. And then you come online and say data analytics isn't worth it anymore. Of course, it's not worth it when you're playing the wrong game. It's like saying the restaurant industry is dead because fast food workers are getting replaced by kiosks. That is true, and I saw one in the kiosk the other day, but nobody is replacing the head chef at that five-star restaurant. It's the same industry, the food industry, the restaurant industry, but two completely different positions. And if you train to flip burgers when the market needed executive chefs, of course you think it didn't work out. And then there's the AI question, because I know you've seen the headlines. We've all seen the headlines. AI is replacing data analysts. ChatGPT can write SQL now. You're going to spend 6 months learning this. And a robot's going to do it in 2 seconds. And we all seen the same old LinkedIn post where PowerPoint is dead. Here's what's actually happening. AI is replacing a specific kind of work. That repetitive, low judgment, follow the template kind of writing basic queries type of work. Generating standard reports and pulling the same numbers every Monday morning. Yes, AI can partly do some of that now. Think about a GPS. A GPS replaced the need to memorize directions or read a paper map. But it didn't replace the drivers. It just made driving easier. And yes, Tesla has autopilot. We've all seen the videos. Car still needs a human though, because the moment something unexpected happens, autopilot is looking around like, I don't know what to do with this. AI is the same way. It handles a repetitive navigation, but you still have to drive the car. The humans who understand the data context are way more valuable, not less. So let's talk about what AI can't do. And this is important. AI cannot take messy, real world business data and figure out why sales dropped 30% last quarter, but stayed flat everywhere else. It can't understand the business context, the domain knowledge. It can't really catch when the data itself is wrong. And it can't walk into a room with your managers and communicate what needs to be changed and why. That is a human skill. And right now, companies are paying paying a serious premium for people who have that skill because the skill has completely deteriorated as the AI use has gone up. So, is this worth it? Here's my actual answer. Yes, if you understand what you're actually building and what you're actually doing. And no, if you think you're just going to learn some SQL, get a certificate, and just get hired, or just rely heavily on a chatbot all day. Let me tell you what the difference looks like in practice. The three conditions where data analytics is absolutely worth it in 2026. Condition one, you're not just learning tools. You're learning to solve business problems. The people landing roles right now are not the ones who learn the most SQL and learn the most Excel. They're the ones who can take any business question, find the data, ask the right questions, analyze it, and communicate what that means in plain language that a 5-year old can understand it. That is a serious skill set, and it's different from just knowing how to code. Of course, hiring managers prioritize relevance over degree, but experience means demonstrate problem solving over a course of time, not just certificate. And there's actual industries where new hires without professional degrees are growing way faster than new hires with degrees. That is the new job market that we are in. All right, condition number two, you're treating your portfolio like actual proof and not just homework. There are thousands of people who build these copy and paste projects all over YouTube and then put them on their portfolio and wonder why they're not getting callbacks. Now, I get it. Those are projects every tutorial tells you to build, and those are fine. We've all done it, myself included. But here's the problem. If your portfolio looks like every other beginner's portfolio, you're going to be treated like every other beginner. The people getting hired right now, they build projects that solve high value problems in industries that they already understand. Healthcare, finance, retail, education. They walk into interviews with stories, not just screenshots. Let me give you a real example. I had a student, she was an occupational therapist, 8 years in healthcare, zero technical knowledge. She didn't know SQL and she never touched Tableau, but she knew her industry inside and out. So instead of building another Netflix dashboard, she went and found real public healthcare data. She built an end to end patient outcome analysis. She looked at readmission rates, identified patterns, and packaged the whole thing with a consulting style presentation and with actual recommendations on how the hospital system could fix the problem. She didn't just show what the data said, she showed what to do about it. 5 months later, she was hired as a healthcare data analyst. And you know what the hiring manager told her? Your portfolio was the only one that showed us that you actually understood our world. That is the difference. She didn't have more technical skills than the other candidates per se. She had way more context and domain knowledge, and she used it to her advantage. All right, condition number three. You have a specific industry you're going into. The analysts getting paid the most right now are not generalists. They are people who know data and know their domain. So they know data and healthcare. They know data and supply chain. Any combination, really. Domain expertise plus data skills is what companies cannot find enough of. If you're coming out of another industry, you already have half of that. You just have to add a data layer on top of it. Now, I told you at the beginning to stay until the end because there's one mistake that makes the entire career path a waste of time, even if you do everything else right. Treating data analytics like a finish line instead of a foundation. I see this constantly. Someone spends 3 months learning SQL, they get a certificate, they apply to 200 jobs and they get no callbacks. And then they decide that data analytics just doesn't work. The market is just closed. But what actually happened is they learned a tool, but they didn't build real skills. They collected a certificate, but they didn't build proof. They applied to jobs, but they didn't solve real problems. So the people who told you that data analytics isn't worth it, they are literally doing what doesn't get you hired. The people who made it, they were doing what actually gets you hired and they kept it up over the course of time. Most people will get the first rejection letter or even the second rejection letter and just quit and ruin all their momentum, usually anywhere in life. The folks who win are just those who just kept going over time. That's it. You really have to be too stubborn to quit when things are just not going your way. But if you're doing the right things and giving the right energy into the process, you're going to be rewarded. I'm thinking of one guy in particular, 25 years in sales, not a technical bone in his body, and he spent 4 months applying to these entry level analyst roles and heard nothing back. So I had to get him together and ask him, why the heck are you applying to these entry level roles? You should be applying to these higher roles. So he listened to what I said and he stopped applying and started building. He took everything that he already knew about sales territories, performance patterns, why certain reps hit quota, why others didn't, and he built a whole dashboard around it and presented it like he was already a consultant walking into a VP of sales meeting. Then he got hired pretty soon after, right? Same market, same job, just different approach. And if you're ready to stop figuring this all out on your own and actually want a real roadmap with someone in your corner, that's exactly what we do inside my coaching program. The link is in the description. We've had truck drivers, teachers, HR professionals, people just like you who made this transition in 3 to 6 months. If they can do it, I promise you can too. All right, so direct answer. Is it still worth it becoming an analyst in 2026? If you're someone who physically is exhausted from a demanding job and wants remote or hybrid work, or even still going into office, but a real career, and you're willing to put in the work over the next 4 to 6 months, building actual skills and actual proof, then yes, absolutely. This is one of the most accessible paths to six-figure careers for career changers. I've seen it happen for all types of folks with all types of backgrounds because they stopped chasing certificates and started solving actual problems. If you already spent time and money on boot camps and courses or universities, frustrated because nothing has translated into a job offer, the answer is still yes. But you need to change your strategy, not the career, because the skills that you've been building, they're not wasted. They're probably just not packaged in a way that tells a hiring manager that you can do the job, and that is fixable. But if you're looking for a quick and easy shortcut, no. Data analytics is not that. There is no magic cert that gets you hired. There is no 2 week course that replaces demonstrated ability. And if someone is selling you that, that's the thing that's just not worth it. So here we are right now. You can keep doing what most people do and wonder why things are not working. And then a year from now, you'll be exactly where you are today, except more discouraged. Or you can take what you now know, that this career is worth it under the right conditions, and you can start building it the right way. Specific skills, real projects, industry focused portfolio, and strategy that actually gets you in front of hiring managers who want to bring you into their world. The market is not going to wait on you, and companies are hiring right now. The people who start building today are the ones who will be interviewing in the next 3 to 6 months. The people who are still researching in 6 months will still be researching. So if you're ready to stop researching and start building, click the link in the description. I will show you the exact roadmap that my students use to make this career change without going back to school and wasting more money on programs that just don't work. And if you want to know exactly what to build first, watch this next video. I walk you through a type of portfolio project that has gotten my students hired in this market right now.